Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Insider. It's kind of a bittersweet one because the magic world was sent into shock but not surprise at the untimely passing of Wayne Dobson earlier this week. I was lucky enough to interview Wayne a couple of years ago on stage live at the Session convention, and we never put it out because of Wayne's deterioration. His speech is quite difficult to understand. However, with the news of his passing, I thought it was the right thing to do to put it out. I've cleaned up the audio as best I can, and I hope you enjoy the time I got to spend with the legend that is Mr. Wayne Dobson.
Wayne Dobson, give him a round of applause. There's some people there, Wayne. But if you've ever heard the podcast, you know it starts with a riffle shuffle. So everybody who's got a deck of cards, get your cards out.
Pressure.
One riffle shuffle, then put the cards away. All right? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Are we ready? We're going to do a communal riffle shuffle.
Get your cards out.
Come on, mate.
Your case from where, mate?
Come forward. Okay, okay. We're good? Everybody ready? On three. I need to come up here so you can hear. Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Insider, brought to you, just for a change, by Vanishing Inc. My guest today needs no introduction, so I'm not going to give him one. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, make him feel incredibly welcome. It is the literally legendary Wayne Dobson. Put your cards away now. Now, Wayne, I grew up watching you on the television, but that was a while ago, and there's some younger people in the audience today that might not know exactly who you are. So how come you're sat here in a wheelchair?
Well, Wayne, unfortunately, has MS, and that's why he's in a wheelchair.
No.
No?
No, it's a
Set the tone of how this is gonna carry on.
I also, the word affects me is my speech is impaired. My legs and hands don't work, but my memory is 100%. The word affects me is my speech is impaired. Oh, my legs are not. The
Yeah.
could have come to my house.
I just thought I'd tell you about this.
What was
We bought it over at the Vanishing ink stand.
what is
It's a magic wand that makes your memory erase.
it? What's that?
Wayne, we start the show
Yeah,
with a very quick question. You have 18 seconds to answer this.
right.
How did you get started in magic?
I came from Rome.
Okay.
One day, magic set. I was 9.
Okay, that's enough. We'll move on to the next question. A magic set. What a crazy start to a career in magic. For the younger people, bless them,
Yeah.
paint a picture, if you will, for what magic on TV was like back then. Because I remember Channel 4, we had The Secret Cabaret, and on BBC One we had Daniels, and on ITV we had this young cool magician who had a model as an assistant, who had rock music, who had leather jackets. Was the cool deliberate? Did you set out like, I want to do something of the time? Was that a conscious decision?
It was just me
It was just you.
that my own was.
You were just cool.
Hey,
But let's go back a bit further. Your first TV appearance, if my researcher's mean. If my researcher got it right, was on Blue Peter. How did that come about?
Blue Peter, I first saw, not the program, the guy had pants okay. The guy had pants okay. Rebecca, they came home one. The IBM Bloodstone Company. It's in the Vanishing fact. I was joined with this guy here wanted me.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob. You wanted, what was that?
76, and you were 77.
Bastard.
I won it outright, and you were a joint winner. Just saying.
Is there any kind of bitterness there, Bob?
That's all now.
And
Peter Duffy's a fine magician.
And I came third.
Oh, well done for trying though, Sullivan. That's lovely.
I was joined.
Well, you're here now.
I spoke out.
It's medicinal if you've got MS. It's totally fine. No judgment. But let's go back even further. That you cut your teeth in the men's working clubs in the UK, which for those of you who are not from the UK, as my understanding, because I was a little bit young then, didn't go to one, it was quite a baptism of fire and quite a horrific.
Yeah.
What was it like to go on stage in a working man's club at that time?
Was then I found out the trainer was brown.
Okay.
I found out that a driver was brown.
They were bear pits, basically. And he worked in the northeast and in Scotland, and they eat their own in the northeast, as you may know. And yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
But then you went on and you were touring with Shirley Bassey, with Humperdinck, with Dean Martin.
Yeah.
What was that part of your life like, whizzing round the world with all these amazing music stars?
I took it all in my stomach and didn't really think about it till afterwards.
Okay, so it's afterwards and you're thinking about it and you're going, holy moly, I just opened for Dean Martin. What, are you pinching yourself? Or is it like, no, this is what I was born to do?
I was and I used to watch these people when I was a kid
Yeah.
and they're working with them. You know what I mean?
Are there any stories you can remember from that part of your life?
With no.
Okay.
They're in the book.
They're in the book. It's available at vanishingmagic.com. with the
Yeah.
stamp there.
What about the lift with Engelbert?
What? The left? Oh yeah, you tell.
Yeah, Wayne's opening for Humperdinck in Vegas for 2 years. And he'd been there a few months, and they were in the lift, and advert announcement came over the tannoy, the Engelbert Humperdinck show tonight, 8 o'clock. And his manager was with him. And his manager said, who also looked after Engelbert. And his manager said, I bet you wish that that was your name they were mentioning. Yeah. So an hour later, he went out, came back, and they'd arranged it. And so in the lift, and it's Wayne Dobson, Engelbert Humperdinck show. And yeah, it was. And Engelbert, they were traveling back one day, And you got the huge lit neon Engelbert Humperdinck with Wayne Dobson. And Engelbert said, your billing's not good enough. And again, within the hour, Wayne's was virtually the size of Engelbert's. It was Engelbert Humperdinck with Wayne Dobson. So, he was, Wayne says when he left England to go there, a pro, but with potential, and he came back with Sparkle, and it taught him how to be a star.
So, what taught you to be a star? Hanging out with Dean Martin and Engelbert Humperdinck and all that lot, or Flight Time, just you doing the tricks over and over and over and over and over?
Well, watching them,
Watching them.
how they did it, how they moved, how they talked to the audience, everything.
He watched every night, and with Freddie, when he was with Freddie Starr, every gig he watched Freddie and learned,
Almost sponge.
So it's like a graduate school.
It was, yeah.
And then you went on and did 3 seasons of your amazing show on television. What were some of the challenges that you faced coming up with that much material?
When I did participate, we used to put in the third series. I wrote the full series. It sounds a bit unbearable now. After I had enough, it was hard work.
And Russ, you had Russ Stevens on Illusions.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Pat for General Magic, yeah. So 2 great.
2 great
Thinkers,
names, but
yeah.
only 2. Nowadays, I don't know if he's here, I saw him earlier, Dynamo's got a whole gang working
Yeah.
for him, and okay, it's Russ Stevens and Pat Page, so you're in safe hands, but the pressure for the 3 of you to continue to create that much magic and new magic.
5 days, 24 hours a day.
What do you mean you used to live it? You still live it 24 hours.
Yes.
But Wayne always says he was lucky he had Nigel Lithgow, who younger people will know, but he was producer of Note, and he made sure that money got spent on the production.
Right.
And I mean, he went to America talking to illusion makers, Steinmeier and so on, and he was spending 30, 40, 50 grand, Nigel was on, Impaler, you've got to do Impaler. Impaler turns up at ITV Studios. It was like toy time, it was fantastic. So they spent the money on the show.
Yeah.
And with
If you see the first series, it's a bit Acorn Antiques, it's kind of, it's clearly cheap. Second series, they nailed it.
All out, yeah.
And it was all in the production. All the money went into the production.
So how long were you getting to rehearse and learn the tricks? So you get Impaler, and it come in from and it arrive at ITV Studios. When are you shooting with it?
But they died later.
You're joking.
No,
What was that like?
lot more pressure.
And he was doing gigs.
Is it in the book about the Impaler accident?
Is this rude, Sullivan?
No, it's
okay,
not
just
rude.
checking. Carry on. I've got to be careful with you.
Tell him about that. Me, is it? So he got onto the Impaler and he was rehearsing it. And the guy, if you know the illusion, they spin on the spike before. And they spun it so fast he actually flew off it. And was it Russ said, or was it Nigel that said it? Get back on it straight away, otherwise you'll never do it again. And he had scratches all down his back. And
Frightening trick.
and
Frightening.
it is I would love to do it, but when I saw it for the first time in real life, I went, nope.
No, the worst we have to deal with is the odd paper cut. I don't fancy that much at all. But then, after the TV, you went on to start creating and releasing your own commercial magic tricks for other magicians. What made you start doing that?
Necessity, really.
Right.
Awareness and necessity is the mother invention.
Sure.
Wayne had very expensive habits. He loved Ferraris.
Right.
He had an expensive divorce, first divorce.
Two.
Then a
Who's
second one.
counting, Mike?
Then a second one came along. And 3 Caribbean holidays a year. So yeah, he burned his money basically.
Yeah, but what's your option?
Quite.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, his money had to last him 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tattoos now, isn't it, Wayne?
Oh God, don't.
Then you have to do mentalism. Those are the rules. If you get a load of tattoos, you have to do. Sorry, David Gerrard, you're obviously not in that gang. But if you're British and you're a mentalist, you have to have tattoos. Those are the rules. What's your creative process now for coming up with tricks? Do you wake up and think, I need a new trick? Do ideas pop into your head as you're having a shower? What's your process?
I'm in bed on about 4 in the morning. I'll wake up and I just create.
So what happens? You're thinking about a plot or a routine, or you come up with a method for something. What?
Thinking about not letting my stuff really is an improvement on
Mhm.
on the unloud ideas. I like to work on my stuff. Not into eye candy,
Right.
not at all.
Well, Wayne will have 4 or 5 hours in bed before the carer arrives, because he still lives at home.
Your mind's just
He still
going
lives in
and
his
going.
apartment, and that's his thing. He's got all that thinking time uninterrupted, and then again in the afternoon, which is usually when he Skypes one of us with
Both of
the
us.
latest idea. I mean, this guy comes up with an idea every other day. But lately he's been into principles, so we've been doing probably for months now, equivoke,
Uh-huh.
and he's got some interesting takes on equivoke and green neck and so he's really reading a lot more and getting principles
Right.
rather than just coming up with a prop trick.
Yeah.
But this guy lives, breathes, eats, thinks magic.
What release are you most proud of, Wayne?
I like the Buckskin Cup. It's just
Yeah, it's going very well. We just had a product review and they gave it 95%. There's a lot of magic there,
Yeah.
a hell of a lot of magic, and it's all based on
What a
a
tawdry way to put in a bloody product.
Oh, well, I'm the salesman, aren't I? So-
My favourite's a toss deck.
Ultimate toss deck, yeah, and the key. Can't forget the key. The key.
stack is quite good because I learned it.
Mm.
And you make them, don't you?
Yes, I hand make them.
It's devoted to the art, Mike. But now all of this is wrapped up in a beautiful new 3-volume box set. See the segue there? A 3-volume box set written by Mr. Bob Gill and yourself, called Legacy, available at VanishingInkMagic.com. What was that writing process like?
Long.
5 years.
5 years.
This is a big old book.
Most days.
Yeah.
So we Skype, and sometimes for 2-3 hours. And the thing with Wayne is, as you'd appreciate, Wayne gets impatient
Uh-huh.
because he's dependent on others for
Of
everything.
course.
And he gets an idea, and we just go to the drawer, get out a deck, get out
Sure.
a double backer.
Yeah.
He's got to wait for Mike
Yeah.
or me to do that, and Mike's his hands, and then latterly me sometimes. But and so he can be mulling this over for 2 days, and we're with the family or something, and he's always very gracious about it. But, but
Despises the
it-
fact though.
and
Yeah.
we'll workshop it. But we Skype. He'll explain the idea.
You'll get the necessary...
You've got to kind of second guess. Luckily, I know him well. Known him since 1975, and I kind of know how he thinks, and Mike
Right.
does. So we can kind of, because Wayne isn't always able to explain in detail, or the detail that we need. So we quite often make mistakes because we'll get the wrong end of the stick, and then that frustrates him, and we go. So for most routines, probably once we start, I'd say 5 weeks of Skype calls every other day of 2 hours.
Then R&D after that, and then
Oh yeah, then it just, because
R&D.
I also write his routine, write up the routines for Dietrich,
Yeah.
and so we go through that process, and it can take months.
yeah.
So what got left on the cutting room floor for the book, apart from the inappropriate jokes, which we're not going to go into?
We're not going to go into. Definitely not.
Because I saw a couple of them, Wayne, and you're a naughty boy.
Sharon-
But what
well,
got left out?
A whole chapter on Freddie Starr,
Right.
which I'm going to publish somehow, somewhere. It's just stories.
Sure.
So he was a colourful character.
Oh, yes.
Wayne learnt a lot, good and bad. It was, at the moment it's just under 1,200 pages. The original draft was just over 2,000. And Andy and Josh said most books benefit, in our experience,
They know
considerable.
a bit
They've
about
sold a book
publishing
or two.
books, yeah.
They said we try and eke out about 20%, but ease out about 20%.
Right.
And that was about right, really. Not necessarily weak material, but there were some that were inappropriate because Wayne's a big swearer, prolific swearer.
The family podcast, we don't need to go into any
Indeed,
more
I'm
detail.
just- but-
Prolific swearer.
But some of
that's fine.
his patter, should we say, with his routines, relies on
shock
four-letter
value.
words.
Bit of blue.
The shock value.
Yes.
So, which is fine. He comes from the club world, but so that stuff went. So that was about 10%. And then, there were some routines which we thought were derivative.
Right.
You know, there was an ACAN, and it wasn't that we copied someone else, but it was ACAN City
Sure,
at that time.
sure.
The world didn't need another one.
Yeah.
So, but, they were great to work with, and they were very gentle about it, but firm, as you probably know.
Yes, that's my day-to-day life.
But there's another book there,
At least.
if we care to do it.
Well, it was the fastest-selling book that Vanishing Inc. have ever put out. So, a round of applause for fastest-selling book, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike let us down badly, I have to say.
He does that a lot, I've heard.
I'm just a fall guy in all this.
The thing when you work with Wayne is he gets lots of half ideas, which he then shells because he suddenly gets enthusiastic for something else.
Sure.
And Mike would dutifully write them down, even the half ideas. So we had all these notebooks, and he lost them in a house move.
Sullivan.
And the beginning of last year, end of the year before, he had another house move, and he found them.
Oh, swings and roundabouts.
Some of that found its way into this trilogy, but there's another book's worth of stuff, and it's mostly publishable quality.
Yeah.
It's good.
Not full of swears.
No, no.
Oh, there is the odd one or two.
Bob, what are you most proud about concerning the book? 5 years of your life, 3 volumes, 1,200 pages.
I'm proud that I made a good friend of my hero. That's what I'm proud of.
No.
And I know that sounds soppy and so on, but I spent nearly every day of 5 years. I know things about him that I wish I didn't know. I know everything about his life because we got very, very close, and he was very candid.
I was worried.
He's very open. He's very, very open, and a lot about his second marriage, which was disastrous, and that got excised because we were afraid of libel lawyers, frankly.
Right.
And actually, it wasn't seemly for a magic book.
No.
But this book started out as a kiss and tell
Sure.
for the Daily Mirror,
Oh.
Mirror publication.
Yeah.
It started 7 years ago, and they were going to publish a salacious book, and Linda Lusardi was heavily mentioned. That didn't get in the book, and the second marriage was gone over. And then for reasons I won't go into, he lost Mary, his manager, who was his kind of business manager, who
Right.
had the link.
Yeah.
So she died sadly and suddenly, and so that link went. So then we said, well, we'll do a version for a magician. So I've written 4 versions of this book.
Well, thank you.
But
for
I'm
your-
proudest because we became close friends.
Well, thank you for your dedication, Bob.
Well, it was a joy, you know.
Now-
I've been married twice. First wife died from eating poison mushroom.
I don't know if you're joking or not.
My second wife died from brain damage. And she wouldn't eat mushroom.
Oh my goodness. Wayne, for anybody that we have European and international visitors to the show, and there's a television program called Room 101, where people are allowed to put something that they don't like into Orwell's Room 101, and it's banished for all eternity. What about magic would you put into Room 101?
The Lincoln rings.
You did
Why?
the Lincoln rings. You did the rings.
But I don't know.
And what, conversely, what excites you about magic today?
It's just progressive all the time. What I don't like is this red beer. I look like YouTube. We had to earn our
Yeah.
knowledge. And you know, and now they get it to me. And it's spoon fed. They don't appreciate it.
Sure.
We reconnected because I started writing his routines, because he decided, just like our hero Ken Brooke, that it was better to teach through the printed word. He didn't like video. Video is a good medium for some tricks.
Sure.
But he felt that it was too easy for the reader, for the magician to copy the performing
Yes.
style,
Yes.
complete with ticks and everything, and that it sort of produces clones.
Yeah.
So he decided that he wanted it written, make people work for it a bit more,
Yeah.
because that's how we learned.
Sure. We all knew the Dewey Library number.
Oh yeah.
Now, Wayne, we're nearly out of time. But I hear you used to be a bit of a wizard with the Rubik's Cube back in the day.
Really good.
Hey, mate. I bet you can't do it anymore, mate.
No.
Was that?
Who said that?
Well, petty.
Craig Petty.
I was on friend of mine. He passed away and that. You know, I like to whisper. We can't do it.
We can.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Let's silence Petty's heckle.
Damien,
Yeah.
I have a Rubik's Cube in the bag.
Okay.
Would you mind giving it a mix up?
It would be my
It is
pleasure.
mixed, but give it a mix up. So while
I've not-
Damien does that, we found out that Wayne is able to solve a Rubik's Cube with the power of his mind. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, not only will he solve it, but he'll solve it in 5 seconds. Are you ready? Excellent. Here we go. I'm not, no. Go. Oh. I am ready now. 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's not. It's not. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Ta-da!
Wayne, that's not solving it.
It is.
No, it's not. It's in the bag. It's a dumb trick. You're fooling yourself, mate.
Craig, it's the podcast, man. I know you're the bad boy,
He's a legend, but
but come on.
He's this disabled MS, come on.
We always end the show on a bombshell. We always end the show with 4 quick-fire questions, Wayne. Are you ready? What is your favourite pizza topping?
Gluten-free.
That's the base. What do you want on the top of your gluten-free pizza?
Eggs.
Okay. What's your favourite movie?
Commitments.
Who or what band makes your favourite music?
Paul Carrick.
And who would you rather fight, one massive Andy or 100 tiny Joshuas?
100 tiny Andys.
Wayne Dobson diverting even my last question. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been in the presence of a legend. Please put your hands together and show your appreciation for Wayne Dobson!